Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. And in today's video we're going to be learning how to make an AI inside of Python for 100% free using an API key from OpenRouter, which we can get our OpenAI API key from. And we'll be making this program in only 67 lines of code. And before we get any further into this video, please make sure to leave a like on the video and hit the subscribe button, and let's get right into the video. So the first thing we're going to have to do is actually install the modules that we're going to be using inside of this program. So inside of this program, we're going to use two main modules, one being the Firebase, which is the module that we're going to use to access the Firebase backend, and the other module is the OpenAI module, which we're going to use to actually communicate with our main AI. And a short way to install these modules is directly inside your Python terminal. You can type in import os and type in this exact syntax command by typing in os.system, just like this. Then inside of quotes and parentheses, you can type in a pip command by saying pip install Firebase 4, just like this. Then leave a space and type in OpenAI. So exactly what these two lines of code do is it runs this pip command inside of your Python scripts folder and installs the necessary modules. Now, right after you install these necessary modules, we're going to need to open our web browser and actually set up our Firebase backend. Okay, now that we're inside of our web browser, in this case, you can be using any web browser at all. In this case, I'm using Google Chrome. So the first thing we're going to need to do is go to our address bar right here and type in this exact URL to go to our main Firebase console. So the first thing we're going to need to type in is console.firebase.google.com, and this is the exact URL we're going to need to go to actually set up our Firebase backend for our memory for our Python AI. So once you load into this page, you're going to see two main sections, one being the create new Firebase project section and the other being your project and work made in other previous, let's say, programming videos or other things. I made multiple projects, and what we're going to need to do in this page is click on this button that says this project. So all we're going to do is click on that, and it should take us to this page, which is the create new project page. So we're going to type in our new project name. I'm going to say OpenAI Python project, just like that. Then you're going to need to click on this button that says continue right there. So you have this option to enable Gemini in Firebase. This isn't really necessary, but you can do it if you want to. I'm going to just leave it on. And this is for Google Analytics. I'm going to turn this off because we don't need it, and click on create project. So all I'm going to need to do now is actually wait for our project to load right there. And once it's done loading, you're going to see this screen right here, and all we're going to need to do is click on this button that says continue right here. So once you click on that button continue, you should be redirected to the main Firebase homepage. So in this page, this is where we're going to start setting up our main configurations for our main Python file. Okay, so right there on the side we have Gemini window, so I think we're just going to close that because it's not really relevant at this point, and I'm going to close that. So the first thing we're going to need to do is actually make an authentication for where users can actually sign in and sign up using our Python program. And to do that, we're going to go to that search for products IO right there, and we're going to type in AUTH for auth and hit enter. Then we should be taken to the authentication main window where we get to actually sign up for authentication, and click on the get started button right there so that you can actually sign up for the authentication for Firebase. Once you're redirected there are multiple options, but for this video we're going to choose email/password so that we can actually create accounts and sign in using email/password, and we're going to click on enable right there and hit save, and we should be redirected back to the main homepage right after we hit enable and save right there. So essentially this is just made for the main look of logging in and saving data. Next, we'll go to databases and storage and click on Firestore right there so that we can create a database for where our past conversations are going to be stored. So essentially a database is where all our information is going to be stored, like our user data, our AI data, and all our conversation data. So as we did before, we're just going to click on create database right there and give it some chance to load. All we're going to need to do is choose standard edition right there, which is a default, hit next, and then for the location you can choose a default and just hit on next because it really doesn't matter. And we're going to start it in production mode, and all we're going to need to do right now is click on create and give it some time to load, and then we have our main Firebase backend fully registered. all we're going to need to do is just wait for it a bit, and there we have it. We should be redirected to the main database website right here. So right after this, we're going to need to create a real-time database right here, because you can see the data rules, indexes, and so on and so forth. Now we have to create a real-time database by going back to databases and storage right there, and what we're going to need to do is click on real-time database right there. So essentially what a real-time database is for our live information to be shared between the user and the AI system. So now all you need to do is click on create database, and this can take a little longer as it did for the main database. All you have to do is be patient and wait, and click on next once the window appears, and we're going to start it inside of locked mode right there. So now that it's inside of locked mode, what we're going to do is we're just going to wait for it to load up after we click on create real-time database. And once it's loaded up, it should redirect us to this very window, and we should click on the rules button right after it's loaded up. Click on rules right there, because this is where we're actually going to be able to communicate with the main system of the Firebase backend. So as you can see, .read and .write are both set to false, and what we're going to need to do is actually set .read and .write to true, because without them, the AI is not going to be able to actually communicate and upload and download our data from the main Firebase backend. Once you're done, click on publish right there, and as you can see, saves changes are saved. Next, you have to load our application by going to settings and click on general right there. So once you click on general, you'll be redirected to the project settings page, and scroll down. When you scroll down, you should see a web icon right there, and click on that web icon right there, because that's where our app is going to be registered from. So once you click on that icon, you should be redirected to a page like this where you have your register app right there, and all you need to do is type in the name. So the name can be anything you want completely. I'm just going to call it OpenAI Python, just like that. Then now you have this, and you have to go back right here to add Firebase SDK. So all you have to do right now is copy the Firebase configuration file right there. You don't have to copy anything else. All we need right there is the Firebase configuration file. So you just need to select right there, starting from the close curly bracket to the opening curly bracket right there, and all you need to do is copy that. And once you're done, you can click on the button that says continue to console, because this is what we're going to be using to communicate with our AI. And once you're done, what we're going to need to do now is actually go back to our main IDE, because we are done with our program. Okay, so now that we're inside of another web browser page, what we're going to need to do is go to the OpenRouter website and go to our URL search bar right here and type in openrouter.ai/workspaces/default/keys. And you should be taken to this page right here that will show you a list of your previous keys right here, where you can see you have all these keys right here with no guardrails, and your usage access key
access amount right there. So don't be alarmed by that. That usage access only means how much money you've used for free right there. You can click for more details right there, but I'm just going to go back because that's not really part of the video. What we're going to need to do right now is click on the new key button right there. Once you click on that, you should see a name box appear, and you can type in whatever you want. I'm just going to call this something like maybe what I named my Firebase backend file. I'm just going to call it OpenAI, just like that, and click on create. You can leave the default settings right there and click on copy. Once you have your API key right there, all you're going to need to do now is copy that and go back to main Python IDE, and let's get on with the rest of the video.
Okay, now that we're back inside of our Python IDE, the first thing we're going to need to do is actually import the modules that we downloaded at the beginning of the video. So to do this, the first module we're going to need to import is the OpenAI module by typing in from open, just like this. Make sure your spellings are alright. OpenAI, import OpenAI. Just like this, with a capital letter O and a capital letter AI right at the end of it. The second module we're going to import is the Firebase module by typing in import Firebase, just like this, which is the module we're going to use to communicate with our Firebase for our AI memory. So right below this, we're going to need to make a configuration variable, which is going to be our Firebase config. So essentially what our Firebase config is going to be used for is for communications with our storage backend. So I'm going to make a variable by saying config is equal to then we're going to paste in what we copied from our Firebase website, just like this. So make sure these first parts, like API key, is all in quotation marks, because if they are not in quotation marks, you are going to get an error. When you copy them directly from the website, you do not automatically get quotation marks, so you're going to have to add those by yourself. So what you're going to need to do is go right below this, and next we're going to need to initialize our Firebase configurations. So right below this, we're going to make a Firebase variable, and we're going to say Firebase is going to be set equal to Firebase, which is the Firebase module, Firebase.initialize, just like this, initialize underscore app, then we're going to say config, just like this. Then we're going to initialize this config file for our Firebase main project. So right below this, we're going to make an auth variable by typing in auth, and then we're going to set auth equal to firebase.auth, just like this. Then add open and close parentheses. Then we have set up our Firebase auth. So essentially our auth is basically for creating and signing in with accounts. Then right below this, we're going to make a database variable, which is going to be set equal to firebase.database, just like this. So the Firebase database is basically the database that we're going to be using for storing our past conversations and other chat history. Then right below this, we're going to need to initialize our main AI. So I'm going to comment this out, initialize AI, just like this. So I'm going to initialize something known as the client. And basically, our client can be defined as the main AI. So right below this, we're going to type in a variable named client, and we're going to set client equal to open AI with a capital letter AI right there. So we're going to open and close parentheses, just like this. I'm going to indent right here, and I'm going to make a variable named base URL. So base URL is going to be set equal to the website where we got our API key from, and you have to type it exactly as I've typed it right here. We're going to start with the HTTPS protocol, and we're going to type in openrouter.ai, which is the website we got it from. Then we're going to go /API/v1, just like this. Then right there, we're going to add a comma. Then we're going to add a variable named API key. We're just going to type in API underscore key. Then we're going to set API key to be equal to whatever the API key is that we copied, and make sure it's inside of quotes. And there you have it. You are done setting up your API key. So next, you're just going to go out of this client right here, and we're going to type in the model underscore name. So the model name is basically the exact model that we are going to be using as our AI client for this YouTube video. Now, for those of you that are actually subscribed to the channel and watch my previous videos, we're going to use a very common AI used on this channel, which is going to be qn, all in lowercase, /qn, just like this, dash hyphen, just like this, 2.5, just like this, and make sure it's exactly as I'm typing it, 7b, and then another dash instruct. This is the exact free model that we are going to be using, and for more models like this, make sure to visit the link in the description for more free models and more free websites where you can get your API keys like this from. So right below this, we're going to make a mode variable, and our mode variable is basically what the user is going to choose between signing up and signing in. So the first option is going to be, of course, logging in, just like this. Then I'm going to add a break line, and option 2 will be sign up, just like this. So the user has to choose between logging in and signing up. So after they choose between logging in and signing up, I'm going to choose email, and then the email is going to be equal to input what the user is going to set as their email, and same thing for password. Password is going to be equal to input what the user wants their password to be, just like this. Then we have their password set, add a space right there. Then we have mode, email, and password. Right below this, I'm going to make a try statement, just like this. So this try statement is basically where our main code is going to lie, but as for now, I'm going to pass it so that we can make our except exception as a statement. So in case we get any errors, we're going to make an except, just like this, exception as E, just like this, with a full colon right at the end. So in case we get any errors, we're going to print out, start with an F. Make sure you don't forget this F right here. We're going to type in error right there. Then this error is going to be precise as we set it to be. We're going to concatenate E right here inside of these curly brackets. Now, after we're done with this, we're going to go back to our try statement right here. So right in this statement, we're going to start with an if statement and say if mode is equal to 2 in quotes, which is the option they choose here. So if they set it to 2, then we're going to say auth, which is our auth variable, dot create underscore user with underscore email underscore and underscore password, just like this. Then inside parentheses, we're going to say email comma password, just like this. Then right below this create user with email comma password, we're going to say print. Then if we make it successfully, we're going to say account created. Then if we don't get it successfully, this exception as e function is going to run with a specific error concatenated inside of this e right here. So next we're going to leave this if statement right here, and then we're going to go directly to our user variable. We're going to set user set equal to auth dot sign underscore in underscore with underscore email and underscore password, just like this. Then we're going to pass in email comma password variables just like that, and make sure your casing and spellings are 100% accurate. So right below our user variable, we're going to make a user underscore id variable, and we're going to set user id equal to user, then brackets, then single quotes. We're going to type in local with a capital letter I and a small letter D at the end. Then we have our local ID right there set equal to user ID. Then we're going to go right below this, and we're going to make a variable named cloud data, and this is where our main information is going to be stored.
So this variable named cloud data is going to be set equal to the code I'm going to write, and cloud data is going to be equal to db, which is short for database, dot child. Then in quotation marks, we're going to go into the users folder, just like that. Then go dot child again. Then we're going to go with our user ID and make sure this is not in quotation marks, because it's going to cause an error by looking for the exact user ID. Then we're going to go dot get dot val, which is short for value. Then we're going to go right below that, and we need to make our history variable where our information is going to be stored on cloud data. So history is going to be set equal to cloud data. If cloud data, then we're going to make an else statement. Then right after this else statement, we're going to open brackets, then open curly brackets. The first thing we're going to pass in quotes is the role, and the role is going to have equal system. It's going to be set equal to system. Then after that, we're going to set a comma and add content. Then the content is going to be the personality of your artificial intelligence system. I'm going to set it to be you are a helpful cloud-based Python assistant. Then you can give it a name if you want. You can make it whatever you want to be. It can be any personality you want at all. I'm going to call it something like Mellow, just like that. Then right after we create our history variable, this is the part where we actually start getting to do our user input. And to do this, we're going to need to make an infinite loop for our user to continuously keep inputting data for our AI to give response to. So we're going to make a loop by saying while true, then a full colon. Then we're going to make a variable named user input, and user input is going to be set equal to input. Then we're just going to add u right there so that the user can input what they want to ask the artificial intelligence system. Right below that, we're going to make an if statement. If user input dot lower in, then we're going to add the keywords that are going to break our infinite loop and actually end the Python program. So just like this, we're going to add words in quotes. Let's say exit, buy, and quit. You can make this whatever you want to be. It can literally be anything. Then we're going to add a full colon after that and add break, meaning the while true loop is going to end. Then, right after we finish making our if statement, we're going to append our history and actually update our history by typing history.append. So this function is what's going to update our history in the Firebase backend. Open parentheses, then open curly brackets. The first thing we'll pass is the role, but this time the role is going to be the user. Then after the user, the content this time is going to be user input, and make sure user input is not in quotes because this is a variable name. Then right after we append our history, we're going to make a response variable, which is what our AI is actually going to output to us. So we're going to make a variable, and we're going to call this variable response, and we're going to set response equal to client.chat.completions.create, all in lowercase. And make sure the spellings are accurate, otherwise you're going to get an error. And then open and close parentheses. Then I'm going to indent inside of the parentheses I'm going to make right here. Once I indent inside of them, the first thing we'll pass is the model name, and we're going to say model is equal to model underscore name, all in caps, because that's the variable we made. Then add a comma and type in messages is equal to history, because that's our chat history. Add a comma right after that, and then we're going to make max tokens variable. This is a limit that you can make in case you want to sell it to someone or make it a professional AI, and I recommend having a max tokens variable, and I'm going to set mine to 500. Then what we're going to need to do is come out of the response variable right here, and we're going to make an answer variable, and this is what the AI is actually going to output to us. So answer is going to be set equal to response.choices, then open brackets. Right after the choices, we're going to open brackets and type in 0 because we're choosing response 1. Then after this 0, we're going to type in .message .content because we are getting the message content of response 0. Then we're going to go below that and we're going to print out our bot answer by saying print, then add an F there, then bot, then we're going to concatenate answer right inside of our curly brackets. And just like that, we have our AI system output. Next, we need to actually update our AI data. To do that, we're going to go right below the print statement there, and we're going to type in another history.append line, just like that. Then we're going to open and close parentheses, then open and close curly brackets. The first thing we pass is role again, but this time the role is going to be the assistant because this is our AI. Pass a comma, and the content is going to be answer. And this answer is not going to be in quotes. Make sure it's not in quotes because it's a variable name. Right below that, we're going to type in db.child, go into the users folder, then .child again, go into the user ID, then say .set. Then after this .set, we're going to open and close parentheses and type in history inside because we are setting the history data and actually updating it inside of our Firebase backend. And this is our full Python code, and all that's left to do is actually check and see if it actually runs. And make sure all your API keys are actually accurate and all your spellings are accurate without any errors. And make
Okay, now to actually run my code and see if everything is fully functional inside of this Python script, and make sure all your spellings are incredibly accurate, otherwise you're going to get multiple errors. So here we have the login and sign up question. So as a first, we're going to choose sign up because our database is still new. Then as for an email, we're going to choose something random. I'm just going to say michael1@gmail.com, just like this. Then I'm going to set the password as 128, just like this, and hit OK. Then as you can see in our terminal, we have account created. So now we are connected to our AI. Let's just say hi to our AI and hit send, and let's see what our AI is going to give to us as feedback. And make sure to keep in mind that your AI response is incredibly dependent on your internet speed connection, so don't be worried in case it takes too long to actually respond to you. So as you can see, I get a response: hello, nice to meet you, how can I assist you today? Feel free to ask me any questions or let me know if you need anything or any help with anything. So as you can see, we have made a fully functional AI inside of Python with only 62 lines of code, and it could be less depending on how many comments you want inside of your Python script. So you can ask it anything you want completely. Let's say, what is the formula for finding density? Something simple for AI, and let's see what it's going to give us as an output. And entirely we get our answer right there. For example, you have examples right here. All you need to do is actually scroll down and let's check our exit words. I'm going to type exit, and as you can see, my program has ended. So here's my answer right here. Everything is my answer. The formula for density right here. All my answers are right here. So if you want, you can simplify them or you can change the models. And as I mentioned before, if you want more models and more free access to more API keys, make sure you check the link in the description for more great ideas like this. And I have more AI ideas like this and more videos about more AIs you can make and more videos all over the channel. So make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.